What's your baby thinking? What do they want? Above all, why are they crying? It's frustrating, it's heartbreaking, and every parent's been there.
It's when you've tried everything. You've tried, are they hot, are they cold, do they want a drink, are they hungry? It's that stage of things. You've been through everything. It's well, what is it? I suppose it's a bit frustrating. You sort of just keep trying, new toy, new cup, new breadstick, anything to, till you get it right. But it often can take quite a long time.
It's so frustrating when you can't work out what they want. It's almost like they're taking it out on you, really. They sort of scream, 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 scream. And I was thinking, please, I'm trying to do everything, And it's like a personal vendetta against you in a way.
If only we knew what they wanted to tell us. Well, some parents say that's now within our reach. To find out more, I travelled to Seattle on America's wacky West Coast. Meet Ava Myers, just 14 months old. She can't speak yet. But here she is, asking for more grapes.
You want grapes?
Oh, is that the sign for grapes?
I'll give you more grapes.
Hot drink.
And here she's asking for another drink.
Did you get a hurt, honey?
And here she's telling her mum she's hurt her hand.
Oh.
Very easy.
What's that?
She's using a form of sign language developed especially for babies.
I'm just constantly blown away by how much communication is possible with sign language before she has the ability to communicate in verbal speech. We had shown her the sign for hurt later that day, yesterday. Hurt,
Good
she's
girl.
showing you, yes. You fell down in the kitchen. You fell down, she tripped over the chair leg, and she stood up and went, hurt. And I said, where does it hurt? And she tapped the floor where she had fallen.
Did you hurt the floor yesterday? You hurt the floor.
From 12 months old, Ava's been taught more than 90 signs by her parents.
Yes, you want to eat? Show me. Eat? Eat more? Yes.
What's different about baby signs is that these children aren't deaf. They're some of the thousands of hearing American babies being taught a new way to communicate before they've learned to talk.
I think one of the main things that it does is it gives us a window into her thought processes that we wouldn't otherwise have. And because a child this age can't tell you what they're thinking in words, but she can tell us a lot about what she's thinking in signs.
What is it? Grapes? Well, you know what? They're all gone, sweetie. The grapes are all gone. More? What about some apple?
We can see by how she expresses herself in sign language, we can see her development in action. We're watching her mind growing and expanding and taking things in her world, and it's just really exciting to see that. And I think the sign language really allows us to view it in action in a way that we would not have.
It's for you now. Oh, that's right. That's right. You need it. There you go.
For babies, getting your point across can be a frustrating business.
Before these fellas can learn to talk, they need to learn to coordinate dozens of facial muscles. They'll get their first word at round about a year, their first simple sentence at about 2 years. But now one man is saying that not only can you communicate with your child before that time, but they'll communicate back.
You take the more sign, for example, put the more sign right between your gaze and the child's gaze. You go, more. Eventually your child will associate this hand gesture with receiving more food.
Child development researcher Dr. Joseph Garcia developed the Baby Signs program. He reckons the optimum age to start teaching your baby is around 8 months. He says babies will sign back within 6 weeks.
Then you can offer the sign first and then give them that item. But when they can communicate their needs, I've had countless parents tell me that they almost have evaporated the terrible 2s and 3s because that stress is reduced, not only for the child because they can communicate now, but for the parent because the parent can actually understand what's wrong with the child. There's nothing more frustrating for a parent than to have a child come up to them, walk up to them crying, and they don't know what's wrong. But when the child can take the pain sign and say, I've got an earache, or a sore throat, or a stomach ache, that relieves an enormous amount of stress for both the child and the parent.
Where is the kitty? You don't know?
Lisa Lewis has been using signs with 16-month-old Margot for less than a year. She says the program's made her daughter calmer and happier.
Even when she's tired, she's pretty relaxed and able to sustain, and I believe that it's because we can communicate. We have some tremendous conversations about all kinds of things, and
Using the signs.
using the signs and language too, but the signs as the vehicle for Margot to respond and for me to know, is she understanding what I'm getting or not? It's been incredibly enriching, I think is the key word. It's enriched our relationship, it's enlivened our interactions outside with friends, here. It's been really fun.
Make this sign for
Garcia's program's now turning into a phenomenon. In just a few years, he's transcended from teacher to guru. And for those parents sleepless outside Seattle, he's produced a glossy guidebook and video.
And it blows my mind that I was never that good.
That's quite a language, you can see there. They seem to be talking, or at least interacting.
But how valuable is the Baby Signs program? And could it make children lazy about learning to talk? We showed some examples to an expert in language development.
Water, okay, here you go.
I think it could be beneficial to normal communication because it's actually easier to make signs than it is to speak. There's a kind of gymnastics of the tongue that you have to do. It's almost like a constant tongue twister that babies have to achieve to be able to speak. Let me give you one example to show you just how difficult lip reading can be. If I say, what did I just say?
Telephone?
Right, you're right, actually, but often people will guess it's I love you.
Yeah, I did think that was my first reaction. I thought, you wouldn't be saying that to me.
All right, but the fact that they look so similar teaches us just how difficult it is to master things through vision. What we can do is see a sign when it's being made in sign language. And if we can see the hands articulate the words, it's a slight advantage for the young child who wants to produce those words.
She's getting milk, that's right.
Yeah, here's some milk.
But if Garcia's to be believed, the benefits of signing are not just short-term.
There you go. There's some more soap. Wash your hair.
Children who sign tend to speak earlier, and when they do, they have more to say. Also, they found out that children not only speak sooner, but later on in life, at about age 7, they've tested these children, and signing children tend to score much higher on IQ tests than those children who don't sign.
This is the popular myth in child psychology that in one fell swoop, as we enter into the new millennium, we can somehow change the course of evolutionary history. I don't believe it. Parents who are going to take the extra time to sign with young children are also communicating more with these children. And what we do know is if you want a good recipe for a child who has great language, communicate more with them. Look into their eyes and spend that quality time. I don't know that it needs to be signing per se, but I am sure that communication is the key to success.
It's impossible to say whether parents buy into baby signs to raise a super bright child or just to have fun and a good night's sleep. Question is, will it stand the test of time?
Is this fad, craze, fashion?
I hate to be reduced years of study and research to a fad. What I see this is it's an important step in the evolution of child rearing. It helps us engage a child a little bit better in communication. It helps a child engage us more in communication. And if people use this to make their lives a little less stressful, help increase the bonding process and help engage or interact with their child on a more intimate, deeper level, then it has served its purpose. It's not designed to be the new placebo or the wonderful thing that's going to change life for you and your child. What it's going to do is make that already, hopefully, quality time you have with your child even more wonderful and more engaging.
Well, it may be overhyped, but now it's over here. We gave 5 families a sneak preview of the Baby Signs course and asked them to give it a 6-week trial. Olwyn's son Jack has already learned 4 signs.
Jack is actually very slow to talk. He's 15 months old. I think he's too busy destroying the world to be bothered talking. So I've really noticed it's helped a lot with the signing, because he can tell me when he's thirsty, or his favourite sign is airplane, and he just spends lots of time looking out the window, and it's quite nice because I can make the sign for airplane and he'll go over to the window and look out, and I get a few minutes to do something. So I think he's going to be slow to talk, so I'm really glad I started the signing.
Gillian's daughter Meadow, 14 months old, is also using 4 signs.
It's taken so much of the tension out of things, out of just daily life, and when she's not well, and she'll tell me she wants more, and she'll tell me she's finished. But sometimes she'll sign for food or finished when she doesn't actually want these particular things. She's just trying to tell me she wants something.
Even those parents whose babies weren't yet signing saw some benefits.
He looks at me, but he's just he's obviously wondering what I'm doing. I think one of these days I'm hoping that there's going to be some feedback, some comeback. But at the moment I'm still getting the sort of,
My mother's mad.
what do you do? I know, you can embarrass me when I'm 16, but do you have to do it now?
However, there were some reservations.
I don't know if I could recommend the entire package, in terms of the cost. You've got to learn all the signs and you have to do them consistently. Yeah. And I think I'd want to see what the benefits are. But it's quite, it's an enjoyable thing. It's a way to play with them and get them sort of thinking about communicating and, trying out new things. And they really like it. And I have to say, he'll stop whatever he's doing and look and smile if it captures his attention, which is good.
It does require patience, huge amounts of patience. If you've got a screaming baby who's hungry, there's no time for this. Or they're not interested in looking at you doing the sign for eating.
Yes,
they want to eat. And I found you do need patience.
Generally, though, our 5 mums gave it a thumbs up.
It's another fun thing to do, and if it helps with communicating, because the next few months, obviously, temper tantrums and all, if they can be avoided, it's great. I'd really recommend it, definitely.
Avoiding those tantrums, frustrations and terrible twos could be enough to convince even the most sceptical of British parents of the value of baby signs. If it brings this holy grail within their grasp, this is one American craze that might just take off.